I'm Buriana Mumerin from Bise, and today I would like to introduce our teacher for the first year of the Somatic Experiencing Professional Training, Machid Hagger. She is a marriage and family therapist, somatic experiencing practitioner, and educator. Hello, Machid.
Good morning, Mariana. So nice to be with you.
It's a great honor for us that you're coming to Bulgaria and bringing SE to our students. You will be part of the first professional SE training here.
I
It
like
will
that
be,
very much.
yeah, it will be very valuable for the people who are joining this first group to have a personal experience of you and to hear a bit more about SE
Yeah,
and what lies ahead in this training. And I'll be very grateful if you could share some thoughts with us. And
my pleasure. Yeah, I would love that too. It's going to be my first time in Bulgaria. I'm very excited to come visit and visit your country and your people, and I'm very excited to be there.
oh, that's great. Yeah. First, I would like to ask you to share a bit about yourself so people can get to know you better.
Great. Yeah. Whenever I get this question, I'm like, where do I start? I don't know. Um, as you said, my name is Machid. I am a marriage and family therapist. I'm licensed here in the United States in the state of California. I live in San Diego, Southern California, and have now been here for most of my life. I was actually born in Iran, pre-revolution Iran in 1971. And then my family moved to Germany when I was 10 years old. So my immediate family, my mom, my sisters, my dad has passed away now, but my mom and my sisters, some aunts, some uncles, some cousins, they're all still in Germany. And so I grew up in Cologne and finished high school there, and then came to San Diego to go to college. I have an uncle who lives here in San Diego, so I had the opportunity to stay with him and go to college. And then I just fell in love with San Diego and the warmth
Mm,
of the weather, the warmth of the people here, and ended up staying and creating a family and my career. And yeah, have never had the urge to leave again.
mm.
So part of my interest in coming to Bulgaria, of course, is that hopefully I will get to see my family because I'm so close by. And that's going to be
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
you'll come to visit Europe. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
What inspired you and continue to inspire you to want to pass on this tradition to other therapists who are just beginning to study SE, and why SE in particular?
Yeah. I was a client of somatic experiencing before I became a student of somatic experiencing.
We all start from there, I
Yeah.
believe.
And I think my own trauma healing journey is what inspires me to continue being passionate about somatic experiencing and passionate about teaching somatic experiencing because, I discovered SE in my 30s. Of course, I'd had therapy before that. I had different modalities. I was a therapist, a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, solution focused therapy, different systemic approaches for family therapy, but nothing felt quite complete. I kept
Mm,
feeling like there's something that none of these modalities are getting at. And then, of course, I was introduced to my SE therapist. And from that first session, I knew something here is different than anything else I've ever tried. And that's really the piece that keeps me inspired because it didn't just feel like I'm using these tools and there is a temporary fix so I can handle my life. It really felt like I am listening to what is needed and I am honoring that that need. And things began to shift, not just in the way that I respond to stressors, but things began to shift in my relationships. Things began to shift the kind of parent I am, the kind of friend I am, the kind of partner I am, the kind of therapist I am, right? So it wasn't just I'm getting some trauma resolution work for my own therapy, it became a lifestyle. Um, and that's really what continues to inspire me. It's like, students come in expecting to learn a treatment modality, and then we just watch them change and shift and grow and become more present and become more closer connected to the essence of themselves. And that's really what keeps me going.
Yeah, very touching and powerful.
Yes.
Thank you. When someone begins the training, that's like we continue what you just said. What transformation do you notice in your students in terms of professional and personal development over the 3 years? And the training itself is truly profound inner journey.
Yeah, it is. I think that's initially what kept me in the training environment. We have our trainings are very experiential. There's a morning lecture, and then in the afternoon, we all get to work and practice. And then we have this wonderful group of assistants who volunteer their times to come and support the trainings. And I think initially, watching that transformation was the most profound thing for me that I wanted to observe over and over and over again. And so I kept assisting and I kept showing up in training spaces because, yeah, we get to see people come in expecting to sit in a chair and take notes and, get the material and get a protocol. And even within that first module, people begin to go, oh, something different is happening inside of me as I'm sitting here listening. I like to say that the way that you feel at an SE training is at least equally as important as the lectures and the material and the new ideas you hear about. It's so much of it is about the pacing and the connections and listening, but also paying attention to your own body. And we have all of these experiential exercises to keep you connected to your body. And for most people out there in the real world, there aren't very many spaces that encourage that. There aren't many spaces
Mm.
that allow time for that. The world out there moves very, very fast. And so we get to just watch people come back into this rhythm that was the original rhythm that they
Mm.
might have lost connection with, and that's a profound experience for most people.
Yeah, and different type of learning.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
What most often motivates people to sign up for the training?
Yeah, we have one of the things I love about our SC trainings is that people come from different modalities. So it's not just therapists, it's movement practitioners, it's body workers. More and more, I'm getting teachers and doctors in our trainings. And I feel like it is the same thing that took me into SE therapy and SE training is like there is something missing, right? So many times I've had helpers, practitioners in my trainings who say, I have so many different trainings, but my clients aren't feeling better. They're gaining tools, they can use their tools. The best I can hope for is that they practice their tools so that their symptoms don't return. In SE, we get to learn to rewire the nervous system. I always say that there is an innate rhythm in our system that was designed to help us get to growth, get us
Mm.
to greater health, get us to more presence, more regulation. And most of us have lost connection with that rhythm. And so I think we're all looking for it consciously or unconsciously. We're looking for it in ourselves, we're looking for it in our clients. And
Yeah.
SE really has been the only tool that I've come across that works at a gentle pace, gentle enough so that the
Yeah.
body can feel safe enough to come back into that rhythm.
During my training, that was one of the most difficult for me to
Mhm.
be that gentle that the body
Very important.
requires. Yeah, from us.
Yes, because the world has conditioned us to move much, much faster.
Yeah,
And then we
absolutely.
think that that faster rhythm is us, right? We
And
believe that
it's
that
normal.
fast, yeah, or it's
Yeah.
normal. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And something else is possible,
Yeah.
which
And
is
we're
exciting.
learning from our bodies. They know
Yes,
there is a
totally.
big wisdom
Yeah. And I think
they
that
discover.
knowing,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that knowing is what brings people to the training and to this work.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
know something else is possible and
Yeah.
people come searching for it.
In what types of cases is SE unreplaceable approach? Because Peter Levine realized how crucial it is to work with the neurosystem and the body in the healing of trauma.
So I don't like to think of SE as a fix it all, you
Mhm.
know?
Of course.
It's just, I'm a big believer in meeting the people that come to my office where they're at,
Mhm.
which means that for some of them, this tool is going to be just right. For some of them, it's going to be too slow. And for some of them, it's going to be like, we need something else to bring enough stabilization into the system so that when we come into contact with this different phase, it doesn't feel so unusual. That is one piece of it. The other piece, the other side of that coin is the tools that we're using are gentle enough that there can be some benefit to everyone.
Yeah.
It might not heal every disorder, it might not heal every disease, but maybe we can soften the
Yeah.
symptoms. Maybe we can put a little bit more time in
Yeah.
between flare-ups of symptoms,
Or
right?
make it more bearable for the people.
Yes, make it more bearable. For me, SE doesn't change our trauma history. It
Mhm.
doesn't change our stressors in our daily life. I wish it did. It doesn't. The stressors out there are still the stressors, but it makes it so that I have a bigger container
Yeah.
to hold it all. So my relationship to the trauma, to my history, to the stressors changes. The stressors don't change, but the way that I'm able to integrate it and metabolize it and feel it all changes over time. And yeah, I think in that way, everyone can benefit, and different modalities can benefit, and different settings can benefit. How great would it be for a teacher to know about the nervous system response when they're teaching a classroom of little 7, 8-year-olds, you know? I can't really think of a place where nervous system education would not be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Mhm.
needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people who have signed up for this training are going to be part of somatic revolution in Bulgaria. They
So
will
exciting.
become, they will become part of the first Bulgarian group to complete somatic experiencing here. This will allow IC to reach and help more people here. What would you like to say to these people who will carry on this tradition here in Bulgaria?
I think I'm so excited whenever I get to be part of the birth of a new thing. I would like to tell the students that somatic experiencing is now being taught in 52 countries around the world, I think. We
Yeah.
are on all continents except for Antarctica. So
Yeah.
you are joining a global community.
Mm.
And Boriana and I were just talking about the SE community right before this call. It's a very unique experience because by the end of your training or by the middle of your training, you're going to realize that you are part of a community of like-minded people, people
Mm.
interested in healing, people interested in being more authentically themselves,
Yeah.
people interested in bringing some genuine care and gentleness to the world.
Mm.
So even though it's this massive global community, it feels very, very small sometimes. I traveled to Colombia last year to teach.
Mm.
And I got to meet assistants from Alaska and from San Francisco and from South America, from Mexico, from Peru. And the student group was from all over South America, right? So it has this it's this big global community that then gets to come together periodically in these smaller spaces. And that feels so supportive. That feels so supportive to me. Boriana and I were talking about how, different friends, different members of community have challenges, death in the family, or
Mm.
someone is
Yeah.
ill, and and yes, true. And we get to lean back into the skills
Yeah.
that we've learned in this community. We get to lean back in the support of this community because we know that that's there. Um, and so I don't know. I'm excited for you all to experience what I'm talking about because it's a little bit hard to translate. It's a little bit hard to explain. But yeah, I'll just say that you are, yes, you're going to be learning a new treatment model for your clients. And you will also be joining a community of practitioners who uh, get to be new friends, new community, new members of your tribe. Yeah,
Yeah. Many people from all over the world. Yeah.
uh,
And we are like a family supporting
absolutely.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you said, you lead trainings in many other countries. What do you observe there? How does SE influence the environment and the way therapists the way therapists live and work there?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Every cohort has its own character. Even like in one country, like even in the United States, my
Mm.
trainings in California are different from my trainings in Tennessee, my trainings in
Mm.
Alaska, right? The culture will inform the questions that are being asked, the demos that are being presented, uh, there's always an individual nervous system in the room, but when we come together and share these ideas together, there's also a group nervous system that shows up, right? And so depending on the history of the place, depending on the culture of the place, depending on whether the place that I'm teaching in has experienced a lot of violence, has
Mm.
experienced prosperity, has experienced lack of support, that's going to show up in the nervous system of the classroom, right? And so, in that way, there are differences within classrooms, but I come back to this tool that we're using that says the history is just one side of the scale. The impact on the nervous system is really what we're working with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Peter Levine has this quote that's very famous that says, trauma is in the nervous system, not in the event. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's true. Different places have different events, but I'm looking at nervous systems. I'm
Mm.
working with the nervous system. I'm not working with the events. I'm not working necessarily with the incidents or the trauma incidents that have happened. I'm looking at a classroom or at an individual or at a small group and saying, what does your nervous system need? What did
Yeah.
it need that it didn't get that we can provide now? And
Mm,
so the character of the group might be different from place to place, but the work doesn't really change. We still meet people where they're at. We're still making time and space for their bodies to tell us what it's holding on to
mm.
and, providing what's needed there,
And and what is usually the transformation during the process that you observe in the classroom, in the students, in the environment?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I notice is at some point, even during that first module,
Mm.
there is like this quality of hope,
Yeah.
you know, when
Mhm.
people have been, conditioned to not pay attention to their bodies because maybe
Mm.
there's a lot of activation, maybe there's a lot of pain, maybe there's a lot of generational trauma, right? And it's like out there in the world where I have to move so fast, it's almost easier to just be a head and not have a body, right? And then sometimes there's so much information in the body that it can feel scary to
Yeah.
notice, right? And so people avoid it even more. And even in that first module, people come into contact with their bodies and learn these tools to titrate, notice a little bit at a
Mm.
time, to pay attention to something other than trauma, right? Pendulate, pay attention to something else. And I can see this quality of hope on their faces like, oh, I paid attention to that emotion and then it softened. Oh, I paid attention to that pain and then I noticed all the parts in my body that didn't hurt, right? And so there's this quality of hope that I really, really love in this training. It's like not just hope for my clients, because, as
Mm.
trauma practitioners, we hear the worst of the worst stories.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, and some of us have had terrible histories, right? And it's sometimes it feels like nothing is gonna help. I'm flawed. I'm not gonna get better. My clients are not gonna get better. These symptoms are too hard to handle. And over and over and over again in SE therapy, I notice my clients, notice my students find hope again. And that's like really the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. And sometimes we are carrying too much in our bodies. And it's
Hmm.
very important to say that there is a lot of support
Hmm.
provided by the teachers, by
Yeah,
the assistants. So
yeah,
there is a lot of care that's
absolutely.
gonna
Yeah.
be very supportive for the people.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What can we say in advance to people about the process and about the material you will be teaching in the first year of the training? What can they expect from the training?
Great. So the first thing we do in that first module is talk about categories of trauma. Like, what do we mean by when we say trauma therapy? What constitutes trauma, right? All the different ways that our bodies might be holding on to intensity, survival energy. So we'll spend some time talking about that. Then we're going to talk briefly about like an overview of the nervous system. How's our nervous system functioning? We weave in some polyvagal theory in that, sympathetic, parasympathetic, how the polyvagal theory informs the two branches of the parasympathetic. We'll talk a little bit, do a little bit of education around nervous system functioning.
Mhm.
Then we'll switch and talk about how that nervous system function changes when there is a threat, when there's a stressor. So, what's our threat response? What happens to my nervous system when suddenly there's a threatening situation? So, we'll talk some more about that. We'll talk about this innate rhythm and how
Mhm.
to come into connection with it. So, there's going to be lots of experiential exercises, lots of orientation exercises, how to come into contact with the here and now, how to come into contact with connection. We'll talk about, with that threat response, we'll talk more specifically about fight, flight, freeze, fawning, you know. So we'll do that. And then we will talk about, sorry, I'm like going through the 6-day module instead of the 4-day. It's a little bit of a, we'll
Take
talk
your
about
time.
boundaries,
Yeah.
we'll talk about boundaries, how to come into right relationship with boundaries, with our clients, with ourselves. We'll talk about coupling dynamics.
Mm. Good.
Coupling dynamics are, this a little bit complicated conceptualization of how our physiology tries to manage the
Mm.
most activating incidences that have happened to us,
Yeah.
right? So we will talk about, when something happens that's so intense where our bodies don't have time to sort through all of the details. So they clump everything together into one thing to make it
Mm.
easier to digest, or we'll fragment parts of it away out of our awareness as a way to make it more manageable. So that's coupling dynamics, and we'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about this acronym called SIBAM. SIBAM is these 5 different channels of experience that at any given moment we might or might not have access to. SIBAM stands for, sorry, sensation, image, behavior, affect, and meaning. We'll spend a whole day and a half on what that means and what it looks like. And again, typically on a typical SE day, SE training day, we'll come in, we'll do some kind of a body oriented exercise to get more present with ourselves, our bodies. We'll do a little bit of a check in with our classmates. We'll have a piece of lecture. We'll do Q&A, questions and answers. We'll debrief the lecture. Uh, we'll do lunch, nice long lunch break. After lunch, we'll either watch a demonstration video, pre-recorded demonstration video, or I'll do a live demonstration in the classroom with one of the students so that you can see the stuff that we've been talking about, what it would look like in a session. And then in the afternoon, students go into triads and practice their learning with an assistant present with them. And then the next day we come in, we debrief the triads, and we'll do it all over again.
Yeah. Intense program.
Yes, yes. But we'll take lots of break and there'll be lots
Yeah,
of time for social
absolutely. And
engagement.
we're following very slow paced. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to share that I haven't asked you about?
Hmm. Hmm. I'll say one more thing,
Mm.
which is you already mentioned it a little bit. I'm coming to the training with an expectation of some resilience in the team and some resilience in the students. Like, I know you are all experts in what you're doing out there in the world. You're already professionals. You're already navigating this intense work. You're already providing a lot of really good care to your clients. It's really hard to come to a training and be new at something again. I remember that was really hard for me in the beginning. So you're learning a new language, a new modality, but then the nature of this training, the nature of talking about trauma means that sometimes our own stuff gets percolated, our own stuff comes up. And as Brianna said, I want you to just know that we're going to take the pace down so that you can pay attention to both the
Mm.
learning and yourself. And at any time when it gets too hard to pay attention to both, there are assistants available to support you. There's a whole team here volunteering their times to come and be of support of your learning. So that's also available to you. So I want you to just be assured that these 6 days we're going to spend together are going to be rich in learning, rich in new experiences, rich in community and connection. And I'm really, really looking forward to meeting you all.
Wonderful. And finally, I would like to invite you to speak directly to the people who will sign up and come to the training. What would you like to say to them?
Besides the fact that I'm super excited to meet you, I would say, I'm hearing from people that first come to the training that they're like, oh gosh, we're going to talk about trauma. Um, I want to ease your nerves. If you're all nervous, just let you know that you don't need to be. One of the things I love most about SE is that for me, SE is sacred work, but it's not precious work. There's a
Yeah.
lot of playfulness, there's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of leaning into ease, going at a pace that doesn't feel overwhelming. So if you're holding any tension around taking this training or being in that space with us, you can let that go. We'll take it slow enough to where hopefully things will feel easeful for you.
Oh, wonderful.
Ah,
Thank you very much for this interview. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person in March 2026 here in Bulgaria and together to meet all the wonderful people who will be joining us and our SE community. Thank you.
yes, me too. Thank you so much.
For
Yeah.
more information, please visit our website bise.bg. Thank you.